Well, what we've seen in the stock market lately is a repeat of the pattern that's held for a couple of decades now, where things get out of hand, a bubble blows up, and the Fed starts to raise interest rates to kind of rein it in, and then the financial markets collapse. And then the Fed takes it all back and goes back to easing again. And we've seen that over and over. So what we've seen in the last 6 or so months, by the way, this was apparently the worst start to a year in the last 99 years for the broad U.S. stock market. So it was a pretty brutal stretch, which is what you expect when the Fed is raising interest rates. So the question is, what happens next? Is this just another one of those times when the Fed scares the financial markets, then which in turn scare the Fed, and the Fed takes it all back, and we're back in easing mode within a few months with negative interest rates and massive QE? Or has raging inflation thrown a monkey wrench into the Fed's usual plan? And will it prevent them from being able to ease in the face of a crashing stock market? Right now, the stock market is responding positively to the stuff the Fed said about maybe stopping raising interest rates in September. But if it turns out that inflation isn't going away and rising stock prices are seen as a reason for the Fed to keep tightening further, then the stocks will tank again. So I don't really see any way out of this. And my take is that it's different because of inflation, because all of a sudden, we're not in a 1 or 2% official inflation environment where the Fed can cut interest rates as much as it wants to without sparking even higher prices. We're in a double-digit increase inflation environment right now. And if the Fed were to stop tightening and go back to easing in, say, September, that risks sparking an even higher inflation rate as people who are seeing their daily purchases go up dramatically start panic buying. In other words, if somebody's buying stuff once a month and noticing that it's going up and concludes that it's going to continue to go up, maybe they buy a year's worth right away. And enough people doing that push prices up even further, which causes more panic buying. You get a kind of runaway inflation that the Fed is not going to be able to stop without dramatically higher interest rates, which will totally crash the financial system. And that's the kind of thing that could easily happen right now if they don't tighten sufficiently to bring inflation back down to the point where they can ease without fear of sparking new inflation. And if that sounds like a complicated sentence, it is kind of a complicated situation. And the guys at the Fed are nowhere near smart enough to navigate that. If it's even navigable, it's possible that it can't be done. In fact, I think it can't be done. But it would take people a lot brighter than the let me just say it, the morons who are running our financial system right now. So it's more than likely they screw up in some fundamental way in one direction or another. And over the next couple of years, what seems bad today turns out to be the good old days, and things get much, much worse. Yeah, and wait till food price shortages really get going next year, because what we've got now, and we have in prospect, are much higher energy prices. For instance, gasoline prices in the US are at record levels. Just as the summer driving season starts, normally there's upward pressure on gas prices in June, July, and August. And we're already at record prices. So gas is going to be an extremely big problem for a lot of people in the not too distant future. And then meanwhile, this food thing is terrifying because food prices and food availability operate with a lag. In other words, what we plant and grow this year determines market conditions next year in food. And the Russia-Ukraine war is taking a lot of agricultural products off the market, and some bad weather, which just kind of came out of nowhere. In the rain, when it rains, it pours kind of way. That's messing with a lot of plantings and harvests around the world right now. And the weirdest part of this is these, what is it, 21 or 22 now? Accidents and other kinds of disasters that have happened at food processing plants around the U.S. Just, I think yesterday it was headline news that one of the major egg producing plants in the U.S. Was torched during the night. It was arson. Somebody set fire to it. So you put all that together, And food prices and food shortages are going to be a big issue next year, along with higher energy prices.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information. And it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
I have bad news for you. If you're not rich by now, you're screwed. And if you're in debt, you're even double screwed. How so, you might wonder? Well, the sad truth is that you're working your whole life to make someone else rich. The mega corporations, the banks, the politicians, everyone is getting richer. They get your money. And what is even worse, they get your time, they get your life. You are not even in a rat race, you're in a financial prison. But what could a solution for you look like? Honestly, I don't know, but I know what a solution for me would look like. It's very simple. I use whatever money I have and I multiply it with 1,000. This could make my life much easier and probably yours as well. If you have $1,000 available and multiply this with 1,000, I believe that this could solve some financial issue for the one or the other. Of course, if you're ugly, you would have to multiply it with much more than 1,000. My name is Marco Stan, and this is what I decided to do. I decided to 1000x my money. This is not a joke. I know what you may be thinking. What is this guy talking about? How should this work? This is not possible. Well, I made a detailed video where I laid out my plan. And some clever folks might even want to look at this plan and copy it and do exactly what I do. This is just a little hint on the side. You have two options. You leave, you forget what you have seen. You do whatever you're doing and you hope that somehow you get some other results. Good luck with that. Or you click the link below the video. You enter your email address because I'm not showing this to everybody. You at least watch my video on how I plan to 1000x my money. The choice is yours. Make the right choice. Join me. See what a different future you could have. See at least how I intend, how I plan to do the 1000x. So click on the link below, enter your email address, and I see you on the other side. Your Marco Stan.